When it comes to taking control of your financial future, having a handle on a few basic rules of thumb is the key to success. In fact, 2014 was a great year for large cap U.S. stocks. The index was up 13.7%, yet their portfolios did not come close to the returns. So should investors make changes and be more aggressive, or should they get rid of those bonds or internal stocks? Certified financial planner and founding partner at Eganberger Weiner LLC, Michael Egan, is here to help us answer those tough questions. Welcome back.
Hi, Sonia. How are you?
So let's start off. Should people be changing their portfolios?
Well, that depends. I mean, ultimately, you want to make sure your portfolio matches your risk tolerance. So you got to have a portfolio that you can sleep with no matter what happens. And for a lot of people, sometimes they're just chasing returns, which may actually increase their risk tolerance, which is an unintended consequence, and then the market goes down and they get burned. And so that's what we don't want to have happen.
You don't want that to happen.
No.
But diversification is still important, right?
Absolutely. You know, over time, things do better at different times. So you never want a portfolio of all stocks or all bonds, because, you know, if stocks go down, what are you going to do then? You can't rebalance, can't do anything because all your stocks are down. Typically, bonds offset the risk to stocks. So even in an environment where most experts would say maybe bonds don't look quite as attractive for the next 5 years as they did for the last 5 because we expect interest rates to go up, bonds are still a balance piece to the portfolio. Just like you want international and U.S. stocks, large company stocks and small company stocks, and value stocks and growth stocks. These are diversification pieces that should be in most, if not all, portfolios.
And that's sort of number one of your 3-part rule book, right?
Absolutely.
Diversification. What's rule number 2? Rule
number 2 is to make sure the portfolio matches that risk tolerance. So that ultimately, you know, if I asked you a question, let's say you had $1 million portfolio.
Yes, I like this idea.
And if it were to drop to what number would you start freaking out at?
Okay.
Give me a number.
Like $1 less, I would start freaking out. So I'm high risk, I'm guessing.
Yes. So, I mean, let's just, so I did this exercise for myself on some new software that we're working with. So I said, okay, if it dropped to 400,000, I might start freaking out. And that's exactly what happened during the financial crisis from 07 to 09. The S&P 500, what we just talked about, dropped 59%.
Wow. Yeah.
So you had $1 million, now you're down to 410. What would you do? A lot of people at that time sold.
Right.
And as a result,
just get out.
Yeah, they locked in losses. Then, of course, the market is never, you know, anticipating what you're going to do. It's just going to do what it's going to do. So over the next 9 months, it went up 67%.
Wow.
So if you didn't get back in the day it started rebounding, you created permanent loss of 10, 20, 30, 40%, depending on when you re-entered. That's what you want to avoid. So having your portfolio aligned with your risk tolerance should allow you not to freak out as much, not have as big a dip, and if you stay disciplined, rebound actually faster.
And a financial planner really helps you understand that risk. Just taking sort of a test doesn't really give you the answer.
We definitely do. I mean, I would say half my job is the numbers and the taxes and the estate planning. The other half is managing your emotions and making sure we stay in check toward your ultimate goal of a secure retirement or sending your kids to college or whatever that might be.
Can I call that hand-holding?
You could call it that. Absolutely.
Okay, so what about rule number 3?
So rule number 3 is a disciplined rebalance strategy.
Okay.
So in a year like last year, U.S. stocks did really well. Also, one thing we didn't mention was real estate rocked it last year. As an asset class, U.S. real estate pieces were up 28%.
Wow.
So if you had a portfolio that owned real estate and owned U.S. large cap stocks, you're probably overweight in those right now. Rather than leave that overweight where it is, which the tendency would be, hey, if it did well for me, why not add more to it? Or at least leave it where it is. The discipline would say, I need to carve that back down. If it was originally, let's say there were a 20% piece for the large caps and 10% for real estate. Now they're 12% and 23%. I want to take that extra 2% on real estate and 3% on large cap U.S. stocks and put those in places that didn't do as well like last year. For example, international stocks all lost money last year. A lot of experts believe that's a great place to be for the long run, though it may still have some volatility in the short run. Commodities got rocked last year. So those are areas you'd be adding to while they're down, because eventually they will pop back up.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Mike Egan, for making it seem so simple. I love when you guys come in, and you hold my hand a little bit, too.
Absolutely, Sonia.
Thanks.
Okay.
More Let's Talk Live's coming up. Stick with us right here.